Hi, thanks for joining me again. I don't have any great plans for today, so I thought I might just put up the index and randomly chat about it, in particular the weekly chart. And you can see um, price has been in an uptrend for some time. There was a little bit of weakness emerging here. It wasn't so much in the Australian market. If I tighten it up, you can see when the weakness first came in here, volume wasn't particularly high, but when there was no great recovery, you can see here that's this volume was quite high on the down bar. There was an up bar which wasn't able to really clear much above that high here, and then price broke down, but it broke down on average volume. But then price was not able to recover back above the low of this higher volume bar, and then in response, price eventually did break down more seriously. And this volume, you can see it's a bit higher volume. This was when the rot started in America. It was obvious it wasn't going to recover that quickly, and there was no way our market is going to hold up in the face of overseas markets starting to pull back. It's not known how seriously the pullback would be at the time, and there's just no way our market professionals, specialists, and active fund managers are going to stand in the face of pullback overseas and try to absorb all the supply that's coming in. It would just be crazy. Much better to absorb the supply at a lower price, like down here, and it doesn't cost you so much, and you can do that once you see that overseas is going to start seeing some support. Down here was the first sign that the market was going to correct. Now, this volume was a little bit extra high because there was some expiry volume in there for Christmas, but it would have still been high volume, no doubt. And we marked the high of that bar, and once price moves above that, you can expect the price may be about to turn bullish. And there's a nice widespread bar above it, showing a bit of intent. When the market pushes hard, closes up near its high, I consider it's showing intent. You'll see again here, this was an interesting level. You see price came down on higher volume. Then there's a little bit of speculative buying, and this day here, price moved up to a certain point, and you can take it for granted at that point. That's where supply started to come in, and when price moved away in the future, you can see price move with a wide spread here. This is showing intent. This is showing you that the market really is going to move. It's not just a little sickly weak bar. Generally, it'll have reasonable volume, at least average or above average. So both of these movements above important levels have pushed out with good intent. That's given you a good sign that the market's going to do something. Right, let's clear that off and we'll start again. Now we'll move back to this bar here and mark the high of it again. We've seen the market break down. Now there may have been some accumulation in here, more than likely, but it was a bit difficult to see. There was some buying and there was some selling. No one was really sure about what was happening overseas, and this was actually a bit more like a shakeout of this zone here. But there would have been some accumulation in there for sure. Now, it wasn't a clear accumulation. They often aren't. Let's just have a look. The more standard looking accumulation, although it's not confirmed at the moment, is this really high volume coming in, The next bar is up on even higher volume, so there had to be some form of buying, at least in the bottom of this bar and on this up bar here. Now, price really isn't considered to be turning bullish until it gets above the high of this down bar. It's somewhere. There's no exact. If you moved into a intraday time frame, you'd be able to find the exact level. The high of the down bar is a good rule of thumb. You can see all of these closes in here together. It's in here around the $7, $7.21. This is where your breakout line is. You could call that a zone if you like. In the meantime, price has moved sideways. It's pushed up here. There was a bit of a scramble for positions in here on this bar. Price has stalled out as it moved towards the resistance here. You might mark the bottom of that across like that. It's broken down below this. This is mopping up supply at the moment. Now, if I just clear that, if price was to break down below the low of this, clearly, so if price moved down here, then all bets are off, especially if it went up and then moved down and proved it was unable to recover back into this zone. That would be all bets are off and we're going to sell. But at this point, price is comfortably staying within this range. We know that somewhere in here, this is the breakout area. This is more like a general accumulation zone. This is what you look at more often. Then there was coals. I posted on this a number of times. I posted about how down here there was obvious buying in the market. There's a video there if you want to look back on it. Now this here wasn't really a serious breakout. This was a lack of supply in the market and strong demand, and that demand pushed price ground out. You can see this is like buy the offer, buy the offer, buy the offer, and then in response consolidation, consolidation, consolidation. This is the market trying to get enough supply so that they can build their positions. I'm sure that if they were able to, they would have preferred to accumulate right across like this. But you can see that supply started to really drop off. They weren't getting very much anymore. And there was probably a number of different people in the market looking to buy positions, and they were all battling with each other, and that forced price out. I don't think price is really even properly broken out yet. I think that's still to come. I think this is all still some form of accumulation taking place. If I push price right across like this, there was an attempt to break out here, but you can see that supply was drawn out here. We'll wait and see. It'll be more clear in hindsight. Down here was obvious buying. Now, exactly whether this is accumulation through here, I'm saying it is. And then there's a further consolidation period here. I think this is all still the fund managers building their positions and market professionals. And we'll see the true breakout come at a later stage. Now, this one here, this is another form of accumulation. This is that stock that I posted on the other day. Across here, this was nothing. This was probably retail traders trading against each other and having a whale of a time. But here, on this really high volume, I don't actually know what happened, but this was a scramble for positions. This was a massive scramble. And then in response to that, there was a large period of accumulation, and started to get a little bit more exciting here. And if you mark the high of that. There's a little another period there. You can see this was all consolidation, absorption, until price really got the push on whatever happened here. Now, this isn't your typical this isn't your typical accumulation where you would see price move lower, accumulate, and then move higher. This was a scramble for positions, an accumulation sideways, but went right through here, and then finally a breakout over here, and then price took off massively. Okay, let's go back where we were and have a look at this again. Okay, we'll mark the high of this bar again. This was the important bar, and just note that when the market showed intent and broke out above the high of this widespread down bar on high volume, you can see how much spread there was. The market really accelerated away, but then the next bar, the spread narrowed a little bit, and the spread narrowed further. But if you look down at the volumes were all very similar. Now this is supply being drawn out. This is supply being drawn out from profit takers from below. This is supply that may have come from people who are locked into a losing position, weak holders to the left, and to any fresh short positions who are opening short positions from above. If this was your gain here, you would expect price would generally pull back to somewhere around the 50% level. Now, as it was, plenty in the market saw the intent shown as price accelerated away above the high of this down bar. They were ready to buy the dips. They'd seen price getting away, and they were expecting some sort of reasonable pullback. But in response, you can see the market comfortably absorbed the supply that was drawn out. Volume was high, spread was very narrow, and then the next bar, price accelerated away. You can see accelerated way above that, and here's the important level across, and price broke out. This was a bit of a scramble for positions after there was very little dip. Then in response, the next down bar was very narrow again, but volume was high again. So this was the market well and truly understanding that price had turned bullish, and they were trying to get as much stock as they could very quickly. Okay, marking those important lines again so we know where we are. There we go. Now, you could initially look at the high of this because this was the next big push out. But here was the high volume bars, and I wouldn't mark the high of this bar because it's got it's closed well off its highs, and I don't like marking those bars unless I have to. Sometimes I do, but generally I don't. So I would actually say this was the next important level here. Now we'll line up with, see this bar here was this volume. Now this is where there was like bullish absorption going on through here, and I think our market was actually ready to go. It was ready to push, but there was weakness emerged overseas in the US in particular, and we had to pull back along with it in sympathy. We weren't going to be able to get away on our own. So you can see how these levels sort of line up. It stopped price from moving higher here when price initially broke down, but without a great deal of intent. The line is here, and you can see that right through here there was quite a bit of absorption going on to about there, and that was anyone who wanted to get out, locked into a position, perhaps over here. Anyone who was stuck to the left, if they wanted to get out, the stock had to be absorbed, and then you see prices broken out again up here. There's a brief period of absorption and consolidation. Price breaks out again above that level. Here's the level. You can see here once again the volume increases on the down bar. Let's just go back. The down bar didn't close below the low of the breakout bar. Here's your breakout. Here's your breakout bar. You see that the pullback was within the range of the previous bar. It was an inside bar. Volume was increased, and the next bar was up on still fairly high volume, and then price broke out again above the high of that bar. This is the market showing intent each time. Here we have all these bars where the market showed intent, accelerated away. This is telling you that the underlying sentiment in the market remains bullish. If there's weakness overseas, yep, we'll pull back. We can't stand up in the face of soft markets overseas, but you can see each time we've pulled back so far. Let's just clear that off and mark it all again, so we can see where we are. You can see once again, look at these pullbacks. Here, 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 all really narrow spread. I'd take these two together, sort of like that, as a relatively narrow spread pullback, easily within the range of the previous bar. Here and here, all these pullbacks are on relatively light, relatively heavy volume, with the next bar being up. This is telling you that the market's underlying sentiment is bullish. At the moment, we're getting another pullback. There's been a little bit of softness overseas, so we'll see how that goes. The level to watch is the low of this bar, which is sort of also in line with the close of the previous down bar. So that's what we're looking at now. That's the level that's important, and that level is 66.18. That's the current level we're going to be looking at. If price breaks down below that clearly, or it closes below that, we might actually get a deeper pullback than we have previously. So we'll just see how it goes. Anyway, if you like this style where I just pull up a chart and talk about it randomly, let me know. Thanks very much. See you later.